We will, sorry. Well, you sit there and find Christina's there.
Welcome everybody. This is the first Standing Committee meeting for 2019. Committee Whakariti Mahiri, the Planning Committee, Morena everybody, Mayor Goff, councillors, Independent Māori Statutory Board members, our staff and visitors today. It's mostly a very true planning agenda today, with a number of plan changes, a number of them private plan changes. I'll take apologies first. I've received apologies from Councillor Collins for absence. Remember, Henare is here, so I'll note those and move accordingly. Second, Councillor Clow.
No speak a lot.
That's very intimate, so early in the year, thank you. Yes, I think a lot of members will be very happy with that statement, thank you. So moved and seconded, Councillor Clow. All those in favour say aye, contrary no, declare that carried. Are there any declarations of interest on any topic on the agenda here today? I will lodge a declaration on item 8, proposed plan change 5 for Nuapai. I'm a commissioner on plan change 5, so register that declaration of interest and I'll be vacating the chair, leaving the room for item 8. I'll confirm the minutes, and Councillor Hills will second, for 27th of November. They're on the screen there. All those in favour say aye. Aye, contrary no, declare that carried. There are no petitions, which brings us to public input. I've received 2 requests. One is declined and one is deferred. The one that was declined was initially accepted on the basis that it was addressing the strategic planning for the central Auckland waterfront and wider marine networks. When the presentation came in, it was entirely about the landing, which is in the Ōrākei Local Board area and is under the jurisdiction of the Ōrākei Local Board. I understand the Environment and Community Committee Chair and Deputy Chair rejected the approach for public input on the same topic for the same reasons, Councillor Hulse, or similar reasons? Thank you. So it's entirely consistent with our standing orders. And the one deferred is...
as I understand it, that application also relates, at least in part, to the wider marine area, specifically Gulf Harbour, where there's a plan for a yachting centre of excellence. It is quite a matter of contention. There is obviously crossover here, because if this was to be transferred to the Akarana Centre, then clearly that would have repercussions.
It's a question of our staff then.
Yeah.
So our staff looked at this yesterday and on late Friday, and I received unanimous advice from a number of staff members that this was not consistent with the standing orders, and it has been declined accordingly.
Okay, so my question to you as Chair then is...
just a minute please. I've also sought advice from the local board, the Ōrākei Local Board, and the Ōrākei Local Board has given similar advice and stressed that this is an area of their jurisdiction, not this committee, and not the Environment and Community Committee, and not any committee of the governing body. And I will just check with the staff. Are the staff here that actually went through the presentation and reconciled it with the initial approach? Any staff here on that?
I looked at it, so certainly I agree with what you said.
Can we just have it from you, sir?
Yeah, sorry, I reviewed it as well with some of the staff who are closer to the issue, and I agree with you. It was focused on that.
So
any overlap to that would be coincidental rather than the intent.
So that's great. My question to you then is, in terms of the wider marine network and specifically what's being proposed at Gulf Harbour, how is this matter then going to be brought to the attention of councillors? What is the appropriate committee then? Or are you suggesting somehow that the fact that there is a local board governance here, that trumps everything else?
So Jacques Victor is working on the marine strategy around all of those now, so that's how that will come through.
So this aspect is going to be in that marina strategy, is that correct?
Not specifically, but that is where the overlap of those things you talked about. The
So
landing itself.
so the question still stands. The people want to bring it before councillors. What is the appropriate committee?
We'll give them guidance on that. We will. So this is not the committee. The presentation was almost exclusively on the landing, and it was rejected. So we'll give them guidance on the appropriate committee. If they want to raise something that's beyond the landing, they can. We will give them guidance as to where.
Well, could you give me guidance on what that appropriate committee is then? Simple question.
Those matters of the strategic approach to marinas comes before this committee, and that part of it is before this committee. But the presentation was not about that. It was an opportunity to speak about the landing, and that is under the jurisdiction of the local board. Councillor Walker.
I have a question, and that is, my understanding is that the facility at the landing is effectively a regional facility. That is, they are catering for regional events and actually international events. I went to the opening of the facility, I think, last week, and there is no question that this is a state-of-the-art regional facility. So in the context that this is, frankly, a regional, if not international facility, and it is catering for requirements across the region, over and above that of the local board, and then in addition, if the issue is addressing hard stand issues across the region, and the submission touches
Still waiting for the question. There's a lot of statement there. I need the question,
touches
please.
on that, then following the question from Councillor Watson, what is the appropriate committee to address issues?
And we've just answered that one. We've just answered it, Councillor.
Okay, well, my understanding is that the Environment Committee considers park space and recreation across the region. I would have thought that that was an entirely appropriate committee to consider an issue such as that.
Okay, so that's not the question here today. The submission was to represent in front of this committee. Councillor Hulse?
And my last question,
I'd like to just
Mr. Chair, I had one other question.
And I'd like to speak.
Councillor Hulse, can I just take a second question?
I was actually just going to comment on that issue and then be done.
Can I just finish my question?
It's got to be a question.
And that is, given that we've got the local board here, and I think the chair of the local board, that's the Iraqi local board, could I hear from that local board chair around his view?
The views of the local board have been conveyed to me, and they are of the opinion, and pretty firmly, I think, that their jurisdiction is over the landing and not the governing bodies. Kit, am I correct in that regard?
It is a local park, a local reserve, and as such, it does fall under the jurisdiction of the local board. Specifically, I was on the understanding that they were going to present on the wider Tamaki Drive precinct, but as you say, the presentation was quite specific. So yeah, the landing falls under our jurisdiction, the rest of it falls under yours. So, yeah. Councillor Hulse?
Mr. Chair, that was exactly the advice I had, and God help us if we stomp into local board territory, and it's not my job to do that. The issues were specific to the local board jurisdiction, and I have respect for that.
Thank you. Ben Ross also, we've deferred a request from Ben Ross to speak about urban rooms, and that's been deferred with Ben's acceptance to a future meeting when there My apology. So Ben Ross, we've deferred. Ben Ross was to speak about urban rooms, and it's been deferred when business of that nature is on the agenda. Thank you. That's public input. No local board input at this time. I'll just check that because I have been in contact with some of the local boards about the plan changes. Have we had any update on any local boards wanting to speak in this section on any of the agenda items? Okay, but we do have some feedback that will come via officers today, and this feedback contained within the reports. No extraordinary items have been raised with me. Takes us to